The committee room fell silent as Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett rose, her voice slicing through the political theater. What unfolded left committee veteran Jim Jordan stunned, exposing his lack of legal knowledge before millions of Americans watching live. "Mr. Jordan," Crockett began, her Texas drawl steady, "since you keep talking about constitutional law, let me ask you one simple question, something any first-year law student should know." Jordan leaned back, smirk in place, unaware of what was coming. The cameras caught everything as Crockett prepared to dismantle his credibility. The tension was electric. Jordan, notorious for combative outbursts and constant interruptions, thought he was dealing with just another freshman congresswoman. Instead, he faced a trained attorney with courtroom experience, someone armed with knowledge he didn't have. Jasmine Crockett, at 42, was no ordinary representative. A former public defender and civil rights attorney, she built her career using the Constitution in real courtrooms to defend clients. She graduated from law school, passed the bar, and spent years arguing cases, honing her ability to cut opponents down with facts. Jordan's path was very different. With a background in education and wrestling, not law, he never attended law school, never passed a bar exam, and never practiced law. Yet he built his brand on acting like a constitutional authority, relying on bluster, interruptions, and table-pounding to create the illusion of expertise. This hearing, broadcast live, gave him the perfect stage. For months, Jordan had cast himself as the committee's constitutional watchdog, shouting about violations and invoking the founders. But when Crockett decided to press him on actual legal grounding, the facade cracked. As Jordan launched into a rant about constitutional crises and the dangers of majority overreach, Crockett cut in. "Point of order," she said, silencing the room. Few dared to interrupt him mid-performance. "Since the gentleman from Ohio has made several specific legal claims, I'd like to clarify the basis for those claims." Jordan bristled. "I don't yield my time." "I'm not asking you to yield," Crockett replied smoothly. "I just want to understand which precedents you're citing." The chairman allowed it. Crockett leaned forward. "You mentioned constitutional precedent. Which specific Supreme Court cases are you referencing?" Jordan hesitated. "Well, there are numerous cases. The founders were clear." "I'm not asking about the founders," Crockett interrupted. "I'm asking about Supreme Court precedent. Surely you can cite at least one." The cameras zoomed in as Jordan scrambled. "Look, I think everyone here understands the basic constitutional principles. Actually, I don't think everyone does," Crockett countered. "That's why I'm asking for specific legal authority." Jordan's loud voice shrank. "The Constitution is very clear. Which part?" Crockett shot back. "Article, section, amendment?" Jordan faltered, unable to answer. Crockett pressed harder. "Mr. Jordan, let me ask you something any first-year law student should know. Can you explain the difference between strict scrutiny and intermediate scrutiny?" The question landed like a bomb. Basic constitutional law, yet foreign to Jordan, who froze. "I think that's getting into legal technicalities," he muttered. "Legal technicalities?" Crockett's eyebrows rose. "This is fundamental constitutional law. If you're making constitutional claims, don't you think you should understand them?" The room was riveted. Crockett wasn't finished. "Let me make it even simpler. Can you tell me what the rational basis test is?" Again, silence. Jordan stammered about relevance. "Not relevant?" Crockett's calm broke into controlled outrage. "You've spent the last hour talking about First Amendment violations. The rational basis test is literally how courts analyze such claims. How is that not relevant?" Jordan's face reddened. His usual dominance was gone. Crockett delivered the coup de grace. "One last question. What are the 4 factors of the Brandenburg test for incitement?" Jordan stared blankly. "The American people deserve an answer," Crockett said firmly. "If you don't understand basic constitutional law, what qualifies you to sit on this committee lecturing others about it?" Jordan stammered. "I think my record speaks for itself." "Your record," Crockett shot back, "is what I'm questioning. You've built a career on claiming expertise you don't have. That should embarrass you." The silence was deafening. Cameras captured Jordan's humiliation. Within minutes, clips hit social media. Hashtags like Jordan exposed and Crockett destroys Jordan trended. His blank stare at the mention of strict scrutiny went viral. Law professors tweeted, This is why we study law instead of just talking about it. For Jordan, the fallout was brutal. His reputation as a constitutional authority collapsed overnight. Conservative legal scholars distanced themselves. Donors pulled support. TV producers stopped booking him for constitutional debates. Even his colleagues grew wary, mocking his empty bluster behind closed doors. Crockett, meanwhile, became a star. Legal professionals hailed her precision. Law schools taught the exchange as a case study in real advocacy. Democratic leaders praised her as proof that expertise mattered more than theater. Her calm dismantling of Jordan's credibility made headlines, inspiring a wave of candidates with real professional backgrounds, lawyers, doctors, teachers, to run for office. Voters, newly skeptical of empty claims, began demanding credentials and substance. The exchange sparked a broader reckoning in Congress. Committee chairs started requiring evidence for legal claims. Journalists pushed harder in interviews. Political scientists studied the moment as a shift toward valuing expertise over noise. Civic education benefited too. Millions of Americans learned terms like strict scrutiny and the Brandenburg test through viral clips and memes. Law school textbooks, constitutional primers, and civics apps saw surges in sales and downloads. International observers applauded the moment as democracy's self-correction, expertise defeating bluster. Legal scholars abroad used it to show how professionals can hold politicians accountable. Even years later, the incident remained a defining moment. Jordan never fully recovered. His staff shrank, his interruptions dwindled, and his confidence vanished. The once dominant figure now hesitated, haunted by Crockett's questions. For Crockett, it was proof that preparation and knowledge could still triumph in politics. It showed Americans that representatives should know what they're talking about, and that when real professionals enter public service, they can cut through the noise, demand accountability, and raise the standard of debate for everyone. It wasn't just a clash between two politicians. It was a lesson. Substance can still win over theater, and real knowledge can expose the frauds who rely only on bluster.